We get all the recognition for things we do. I would like to thank Brenda for all the stuff she has. And this tournament would not have went on this weekend without all the women that have been involved. So big round of
Just as you mentioned women, I just want to thank one lady that I forgot to mention who does incredible work in this town, and she doesn't get enough recognition. And all the GDAs in every city, but Caitlin here. Sorry, I took that moment.
Anyway, thank you very much. Now I would like to ask Aogan to come up. I'd like to present him with a plaque in recognition of him coming to the first CYC as a Aogan. Just the Irish Football and Hurling Youth League of San Francisco welcomes aogan CLG to the 2015 CYC tournament.
Gurmaigat Khan, Gurmaigat Karja, Uachtaran Marie, Uachtaran Catherine, Cahirla Ford, America, Hui, Gareth. Cahirloch Muirloch, Lawrence, Rooney, Canada, John, Cahirloch CYC, Liam, Agus a Carja Gael Galer, Uvwiach Steve Asal Kuru, Agus Gachratter Gachdan a Kujiglesh and Gerard Sharpton Galer. It is my first visit as president of the GA, and I want to thank you for marking it with this. It's not my first CYC. My first CYC was here in 2009. It's my fourth in total, and when I came to the CYC in San Francisco in 2009, I came with a cross-border community team from Ulster. We had a team at that time called the Cuchullins team, where we brought people from a traditional GA background, if I could put it like that, and people who were certainly not from a traditional GA background. And we brought them together it was our contribution to the peace process, and our way of ensuring that we united communities. We chose for 3 years running the CYC, and we brought those communities there, and it has continued at home back in Ireland, and we now have people from non-traditional GA backgrounds still wearing CYC jerseys, still wearing GA jerseys, and still sharing friendships with their neighbours instead of throwing stones at their neighbours. And I want to congratulate CYC for providing us with that benefit. And it was on a visit to Boston CYC when I accompanied a team at that time from London, when we saw again the growth, the possibilities, the excitement, the achievements. And following on from that, in Britain, they then went on to establish what they called the ABC. It's a bit like the letters of the alphabet, but they decided they would model what you have, and they call it now the ABC. This year they had 1,200 children at the All Britain competition. This was now their 4th year. They run it in London, and they bring children from all across Britain. And it is now going from success to success, but again, it was spawned and it was born from you in the CYC, so well done to you on that as well. I've been Uachtaran, our president of the GA, since last March, and increasingly I know that whenever I go anywhere, people are entitled to, and they expect to hear just a little, maybe not a lot, but just a little from the president about the association and its direction, and particularly since I'm here with you at an international gathering. I said it at the opening night, and I think it's important to remember it. Close to 20%, 1 in 5 of our members are outside of Ireland. That's significant. It's absolutely huge what's happening at the moment. You will all come together, many of you from the North American board in Chicago, for your finals. New York will gather in Gaelic Park for their finals, and in Toronto you will gather for your finals. But it's also important to remember that right around the world in the October-November period, the Asian board will gather in Shanghai, where we now have 43 clubs, for their Asian finals. The Middle East finals will be taking place in Bahrain. There are 5,000 GAA members in Abu Dhabi alone, growing at a phenomenal rate. The World Games and going around the world in Europe, they will gather for their finals in Brussels. They will also, there's so many teams now in Europe that their finals take place in 2 venues. They'll be in Brussels and they'll also come to Ireland in Athlone. And then in Australasia, they will gather for their finals where there'll be close to 1,000 people participating. This year it will be in New Zealand. And I just give you that as a little snapshot. And I know figures sometimes, you know, we shouldn't throw them out there, but the family that you belong to is growing phenomenally. There were around 1,000 children here this weekend participating in San Francisco in the fearghail competitions, and I was delighted to have San Francisco to welcome them to them at home in Ireland this year. We now have close to 30,000 children this year. We're not as quick at the mathematics as we should be, but when we're finished doing all the additions, it's close to 30,000 children this year alone took part in our fearghail competitions. And the really big story that we're very excited about, in the 32 counties of Ireland, we've around 6 million people. This year, towards the end of August, you're familiar with the cool camps for our under-12s. We will have 100,000 children by the end of August attending the cool camps. By far the biggest youth sport participation in the world, and it's an incredible achievement for the children. And I throw that out to you because increasingly we're strengthening. I'm delighted that Marie from Ladies Gaelic Football and Catherine from Camogie are joined us this weekend. We also have a president of Rounders and of Handball. They haven't been here this weekend. I often wonder, and I think it's a challenge, Rounders in particular, same game as softball. It was the Irish that brought Rounders to America in 1847 and played it between New Jersey and New York. That was the first ever baseball game. That's an avenue I think that we need to explore on this continent in particular, the possibilities for those sports. If you were inventing the GAA this morning, you would have it all united in one body with Camogie and ladies football and handball and Rounders. And you are ahead of us in that. You have already united all your bodies. We're doing it increasingly, and we cooperate very, very closely. It's important that you know that. And we are headed towards what we call one Gaelic Games family. Men and women, boys and girls, equally promoted together, all our games for all our children. It's an important direction for everyone. Coaches and coaching, and referees and refereeing, because when you trust and entrust your child to the care of a GAA club, whether you're in Boston or Toronto or in Cavan, the same trust should be there, that your child is getting excellence in coaching, excellence in care, excellence in the way that we deal with them. And it's very important we continue on that journey. So your coaches, your referees and your administrators, they should always avail of training, of upskilling. They should never feel or never be relaxed, I'm good enough, I know it all. We in the GAA have a very strong programme that we're going to continue to roll out for all our units at home and internationally. And I would like to expect that all of you as administrators, as coaches, as referees would participate in that, to always, always make sure that our standards are rising, rising and rising. Why? Because the children deserve that. No other reason. And I would just like to mention to you that the GAA at home, we're never complacent, but we are in a fairly healthy position. Things are strengthening and we are putting good structures in place. We are having the World Games back in Ireland next year. We had them in Abu Dhabi this year. It was a phenomenal success, and I was delighted to have teams from this continent there. Next year, at the moment, we already have around 60 teams who have agreed to come. I think that number will rise. We're running the World Games from August 7 to August 14. We have two major sections. One for people who are Irish but have been living elsewhere for a year or more. So in other words, the best team you can put out in whatever part of the world you're in. And we also have another section for people who are born in the country that they're going to represent. It's wonderful. We're having teams already coming from Buenos Aires, all Argentinians. We have a South African team, we have a Galician team from Spain, and I've no doubt, and we have New York and North America represented in Canada. It's an important week, and there are many reasons why we're having it next year in Ireland, but one of the main reasons is next year, 2016, it's a special year for all Irish people. 1916 was a very important event in Irish history, and the GAA was part of that movement. And to celebrate and to commemorate and to plan the future for what's happening in the next 100 years, part of the GAA contribution, a big part, to the celebration of the 100th anniversary of the rising of 1916 will be the World Games in Dublin, where we will welcome the GAA family from all around the world. Many of you, I hope, will be there. Those of you who won't, it will be streamed live on many outlets, and we hope that that's our contribution, and letting the world know, not just Irish people, but the world know that we have come of age in the GAA and we are a world and an international movement. That will be a special week, and I hope you can participate in whatever way you can. And just on the theme, of 1916-2016, again, I think you need to know this, a significant date in Irish history next year is the 24th of April. It's the actual date that the rebellion of 1916 broke out on. And on the 24th of April, we are, on a Sunday, having our National League finals, Division 1 and 2 in football, in Croke Park. But between the two finals, for 50 minutes, we are having a very exciting, very special pageant to commemorate the rebellion of 1916. We're inviting GAA people from around the world to participate. T.G. Cahir will be broadcasting it live. It will be streamed live on various media outlets, and of course we hope that Croke Park itself is full. It will be a special day where we will play our games, we will play our finals, but we will remember the past that we came from, but more crucially, through music and song and excitement, we will look forward. And that is always very, very important. Keeping one little glance back, but two very crucial eyes forward on the future. And the 24th of April will be a special date for all people of Gaelic heritage worldwide. And I just wanted to mention that to you, that it's happening. And to congratulate again and to thank publicly John and Jean, who have been recognised, and to wish them well. And it is a significant and a proper gesture of reward and recognition. Anya Gibney was mentioned, and I'm glad she was, because she was there and has worked quietly and very, very assiduously with the international units and with the CYC from inception right now to its current format. And I want to thank Anya as a wonderful And coming to very quickly to the end, because the desserts are ready, the word volunteer covers everyone, but it's hugely important. Volunteers are what make the GAA. We're built on a few pillars. We don't have that many principles because we have to keep changing, we have to keep evolving, we have to keep adapting to the time and the period we live in. But community is rock solid as a pillar, and volunteerism is hugely important. And it's hugely important to thank you when we have a gathering like this, all of you, whatever you do. Nobody's contribution is greater or lesser than anyone else's contribution. Everyone matters. And the women or the men, whatever you are, in whatever way you play a part, it's important that we always value volunteers, that we always thank you and acknowledge you. And it's important that no matter where I would go in the GAA world, that I would remind us that we are volunteers. And certainly financial inducements for players, or financial inducements for administrators, or referees, or CYC officials, that would be alien territory for the GAA. And finally, I want to wish you well. I look forward to next year's CYC in Boston. We look forward to the continued and onward growth of the GAA. It's great that the young people have the progression. They're able to play our games, the excitement they get. It was rightly said by both John and Jean, the whole concept is for youth and for youth to play our games. And that's the fun, that's the togetherness, that's where it all starts, and that's what That's the excitement of it. It's what makes us unique, because no other body puts the same time or effort